A letter to my boy. He was lovely, he was so gentle, so calm. And that's been all the way through. He was like, even when he got to teenage years, he was always really gentle, really thoughtful, very thoughtful about me, his dad, his brother and sister, and his extended family. He loved to meet up for birthdays, Christmases, and he loved to be part of loads of fun. He used to swing me around the kitchen when I was cross with him and make me smile, and I used to love that about him. He could make anybody smile. As a friend, he was a lovely friend. He was loyal, and he would do anything for anyone. And I think he had so many friends because he was kind, without meaning even to be kind, but he was kind and he was selfless, and he was just, I think he was special to so many people. We used to call him Sport Billy. He played every sport going, but he was very passionate about his football, absolutely loved it, to the point where he didn't know what he was wanting to do, and then he got a scholarship to America to play football. He was following his dreams, so it was lovely for me and his dad to see. Joseph had come back from America, and he was complaining of bloating, swelling around his neck, and generally just not feeling well at all. We spoke to the doctor, and the idea was Joseph went away, took paracetamol, plenty of rest, plenty of water. But very quickly, I'd say within a couple of days, he deteriorated. The swelling was very visible around his neck. He struggled to eat. He tried to drink, but that was difficult as well. We went back to the doctors, and again, they gave him urgent bloods, but told him to go home and rest once again, which as a mum, I wasn't comfortable with. I just thought there was something going on. He was deteriorating in front of mine and Brennan's eyes, and he did have the bloods, and they said that they'd get back in touch with us. There was no phone call. So we took him to A&E, where once they'd looked on the computer, they could see his results and admitted him straight away. To that point, we were told it could be an infection, pneumonia, fluid on his lungs. And at that point then, they realised there was something going on, and came in the second day of him being in hospital and told us, quite a few doctors, consultants were there, and told us that they thought it was lymphoma, which to them was the best cancer he could get. Joseph researched this, and he said, I can do this, Mum, I can fight this. And he was still quite fit and strong at this point. So I was really hopeful. To get answers from the hospital, I felt like when they'd realised that Joseph's cancer was maybe lymphoma, but maybe something else mixed in with that, they did briefly say leukemia. We were then given the information that he was going to be transferred to a teenage cancer ward. So he did end up on ICU with his breathing. But he was, after 2 days, he was stepped down from ICU, so which we thought was a positive, obviously, thing to happen. So he was on a ward, and I was asking daily. I was shouting. I was getting quite angry because I was so frustrated, because I knew he may need a higher level of care or to get to the bottom of what was going on with him. And he was slowly getting worse, and you could see it, his breathing. He had maybe 4 or 5 days where he was okay. He was still on oxygen, but a little oxygen, but then it was increasing. So I was almost demanding for him to be sent to the teenage cancer ward. There was always an excuse, or I just felt frustrated as a parent, and really, I felt desperate. When I was able to go and see him on the ward, he had the biopsy on his bone marrow, and the pain. He was a strong lad, he was brave, and they did the biopsy, and he just looked at me and he just said, "Mum, just hold my hand and stay with me." And he squeezed my hand so tight. That was something that I still have flashbacks to this day about. When he got a blood clot on his lung, that was the second time of going into ICU, and he was struggling to breathe, but he still put his thumb up and said, "I love you." And that was the last time I ever spoke to Joseph. Obviously, the last point was Joseph dying and walking out of that hospital with 2 children and my husband, not Joseph. I think I walked around for years in a daze. I was angry, desperate, numb. I didn't have the answers. I just felt very, very low. When Joseph died, I found myself looking on the internet, and I wanted to relate to some parents, mums, dads, brothers, sisters, just to see, anyone that had maybe had a similar story to us. And I couldn't find it. All I could find was people that had got success stories, they'd got better, and that was lovely, but there was nothing for me to relate to. So I wanted to put something out there for parents to know that it doesn't always end well, but there are people that you can go to get the help. I want parents to realise, I know these are doctors and consultants that we're all dealing with, but we know our own children better than anybody does. And I wish I would have stood up for my son more and said more, but we put our trust in doctors. But I think as parents, mums, dads, we should put our trust in ourselves and really speak out, because these are the people that we love. I'd say to Joseph, if he could hear me now, that I love him. Absolutely millions. And I think about him every single day. And I laugh sometimes at the things that he would be saying to me. I hope he's so proud of me. And I promised him I'd do him proud and tell his story. And I honestly hope he's at peace. Love you.